Yo, what is up, guys? It's Mekabre back today with something I just posted yesterday, but this time it's a little shorter, a little more precise, and a little more accurate. So, for those of you who don't know, Random Rules Hawkmoon is out, and I was incorrect. You do not need to go to Uldren to get that quest. You do not need to have that quest to start this mission. None of that is required. However, I highly recommend going to Uldren, picking up that quest because that is for the Hawkmoon ship. It is an exotic ship. Uh, Essentially, it's gonna work where you just gotta run this a few times, get a couple hundred feathers or whatever, and I don't know what's after that. I am not sure yet. Um, but stay tuned. Once I know, I'll probably put something out. We'll see what it ends up being. I honestly couldn't tell you for sure. So head on over to Uldren, pick up that bounty, and once you pick it up on one character, you can pick it up on the bounty vendor in the tower on the rest of your characters. Now you're gonna start the mission on the EDZ, where you started the other mission. There's a hawk. You're gonna shoot the fireplace out. Go in there. Now, this can be a little confusing, so follow the path on screen, and I'm going to do a little bit of talking now, but I'll be quiet for most of this video. Just watch the path, and if you're unsure of where to go, feel free to back up the video and watch it again. The reason this video is that like 18 minutes or whatever that it ends up being is because this path can be a little confusing at times. This mission is easily comparable to the Whisper of the Worm or the 0 Hour mission for Outbreak, and I honestly, I think I enjoy this mission more than both of those combined. Even it's a lot of fun, and I wonder if a puzzle aspect is going to come later. I'm not entirely sure, and I honestly doubt it, just because we have the ship and the catalyst already. So maybe an emblem besides the one that we already have. I'm not sure, but running this is super easy, especially on Warlocks and Titans, just due to their insane jump. But as you can see on screen right now, this is the branch I was talking about earlier. Use this branch to your advantage, okay? Now, real quick, let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you may want to bring, okay, based on your character, okay, your classes, all that stuff. All right. So we'll start with Hunter. Obviously, you're going to want to bring Stompies. Those are a must, okay? And you can make all these jumps without Stompies. It has been done. I've seen people do it. I cannot do it myself because I do not play Hunter enough, but it is possible. But Stompies make your life so much easier, okay? In terms of other exotics that you may want for your hunter, Worm Husk is always nice in PvE. It gives you a little bit of health back every time you dodge. Other than that, kind of run with whatever you're most comfortable with. Okay, you do you. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, moving on to the Titan subclass. Titan subclass, you can put online rampants and definitely make this a couple of the jumps towards the beginning super easy. Past that though, you don't necessarily need them. They are optional. Matter of fact, I don't think you even need them for the couple jumps at the beginning, but without them, I found it very 50-50 on whether or not I made it. Okay. Uh, Past that, use whatever exotics you feel comfortable with on Titan. Personally, I don't have any exotics that I use all the time on Titan. I usually run all legendary armor that's masterworks just because I don't have anything that I feel works all that well. I'm sure there are Titan mains out there that know way more than I do on which Titan armor pieces work best. So go ask them or experiment for yourself. But I personally am not going to use anything in terms of other exotics besides lion rampants. Okay. Moving on to the warlock subclass, in terms of exotics, use whatever you want. You can make these jumps super easy with top tree, down blade, even middle tree. If you hold your grenade, it'll let you float for a really long time. So use that in coordination with some of your jumps, and it works really well. Can confirm as a warlock main myself. Past that, we'll move on to weapons. Okay, weaponry. So one of the modifiers that you will notice in this mission, and maybe you didn't notice right away, is that it is match game. So that means that you can only effectively break shields. Effectively, you can break them with whatever, but only effectively with the coordinating uh, whether it be Void, Solar, or Arc. Okay, so as you can see in the background gameplay, I'm using my Reckless Oracle because there are a lot of Void shields, and towards the end, there is some Solar shields. Arc is only really on one boss, and in the second to last room where you encounter a few enemies that have Arc shields. So I am running the Raid Sword just for a little bit of Arc, but I highly recommend running this with at least one other person. It is doable solo. One of the achievements or triumphs, in fact, is running it solo flawless. So feel free to try and run it solo. highly recommend. At some point, give it a shot. But running it with two people gives you complete coverage. One person runs void primary something, whether it's an auto rifle, gnawing hunger, super accessible, so on and so forth. And then the other person maybe runs a solar, and then you guys run a arc heavy, or one of you's on an arc subclass, so you can use those grenades, those melees, so on and so forth. Okay. So, real quick, now that we've touched on all that stuff, as you can see in the background gameplay, you have the prompt hunt the emissaries. Okay, so this is once you're in the reservoir itself. Okay, and you are going to need to find out where these emissaries are. There are three of them. As you can see on screen, this general area, you're going to need to damage them. Eventually, they're going to go immune. Once they go immune, the rest of the ads will despawn. Some new ones may possibly spawn, and they're going to kind of point you in the direction of where that emissary took off to. Okay, so as you can see on screen right now, that phalanx is showing me where the door is for the centurion that just disappeared. Okay, so we're going to follow him and so on and so forth, run into the room, and you're going to kill him. We have found that there are feathers in some of the rooms. I am unsure as to where all of the feathers are yet, and I have not had the time to look them up sufficiently, but I felt like a better guide was in order, so I am putting this out now. If you know where they are, put them in the comments down below. I show you where a few of them are, and I will try and reference that as we go on. Okay. Essentially, the goal of this is to make an emissary immune. Once he's immune, he's going to retreat. Okay, and once they retreat, you're going to follow them to what essentially is their own special quote unquote room. And in this room, you're going to need to clear the ads. Once you clear all the ads in said room, a feather will spawn or it will spawn nearby. So in this room, currently, there's one up on this bridge, kind of right where I'm standing right now. I will shoot at it here in a second. I cannot see it on screen because I've already collected it. That's where one feather is. There is another one. I don't know if I show you guys where it's at, but feel free to look them up on another video online. There's resources out there, and I will try and put maybe a link in of where all the feathers are. Okay. Supposedly there's something like 5 throughout the mission. Honestly, I am not entirely sure. All right. So you're going to need to kill all three emissaries, make them immune, chase them down to their respective rooms. Once you have done this with all three emissaries, a new prompt is going to pop up. That prompt being follow the hawk. Okay, and we'll see this here in a second. Once you follow the hawk, it's going to take you to an area we're all rather familiar with because we've been here on a couple different things, always waiting week by week to see if something new is going to drop. And this week, it takes us to that area. It's the final boss room for Lake of Shadows. A lot of you guys will probably recognize it. Um, but that's where we're going to go next. Okay, so I'll let you guys watch this. If you're unsure of where to go or what to do exactly, feel free to pause the video, rewind, like I said, um, and I will be back with you here in a second. All right, so I'm back. We just killed this third emissary. Now, before we head back to the main area, you will notice that up top, where Uldren's little hideout is, there is going to be another feather. Once again, I already have it collected, so that's why you cannot see me pick it up, okay? Now, once you do this, you can head into Uldren's area, but it does you absolutely no good. It's a little bit of a troll. A fake door opens up. It's like, oh, come check this out. That's not where you want to go. You're going to want to head back into that main area where you first made all emissaries immune. Okay, that's where you're going to want to go back to. Now, like I said, here's this prompt called Follow the Hawk. When you do this, you're just going to follow the path on screen. And if you're unsure, feel free to just run around the bottom. You will eventually find a hawk sitting on a little ledge with a phalanx in front of the door that you're going to want to go through. So, real easy. You're just going to need to run through here, nice and simple, like, okay. And this is going to take you to that other area that we're pretty well familiar with at this point because we've been there a few times doing a few different things. It's the Lake of Shadows final boss. If you're unsure of how to get there, once again, follow this path on screen. The whole reason I have this video as long as I do is because, like I had said earlier, some of this area is a little confusing. Now, once you're in this room, make sure you have Unstoppable Hand Cannon on, as there will be ads that spawn in. Other than this, you're just going to want to kill everything. There will be all the over shields, so you're going to want to have Arc, Void, and Solar at some point. Each wave will spawn a different kind. There are snipers, the Vandals, okay? Take care of those first. Highly recommend bringing a sniper, maybe a scout rifle, because they are probably your biggest threat in this room. Now, once you've done this, you're going to need to follow the path on screen, and you're going to take the second right, and there will be a portal at the end of this hallway here. Okay, this portal is going to teleport you to the area where we first did the Hawkmoon mission. Be careful as you run through this, though. If you go too fast, like I almost did, you will fall off the cliff. Okay, now, you're going to jump over here, and in this area, there are two enemies that are going to shoot at you. You'll see me turn around and take care of this hobgoblin right away, and the other is an acolyte's eye that you cannot shoot at until you're further up. Some people are able to get it while standing on the platform as soon as you come through the portal. It's really iffy depending on where you're at to see it, but the acolyte's eye also does not deal as much damage as the hobgoblin, so do not worry about that as much. Be very careful on these ledges. A lot of them will knock you off if you jump too close to the actual side because it'll push you back down and you will end up falling either to your death or down a full level. But once again, make sure you're just following this path on screen. And other than that, I'm going to go quiet here again. I'll let you watch it if you need to know the path. Otherwise, just keep track of where you're kind of going. You probably recognize this path based on where you went for the first Hawkman mission, but if you need a fresh refresher, or like I said, you're just a little mixed up for whatever reason, feel free to pause the video and resume as you see fit. Okay. All right, so once you hit this point, you're going to encounter another feather. Highly recommend that you come and pick this up. It'll be over on the rock to the left of where I'm currently at. There will be a couple ads shooting at you, so I recommend you take care of them first. Once again, I do not have the feather to actually show you because I've already picked it up for the week. These feathers will be available each week, and there is triumphs related to picking up all of them in one run, and a couple other triumphs that I'm trying to remember exactly what they're related to. But once again, the feathers are really just for unlocking the Hawkmoon ship. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it does look pretty cool, and I would highly recommend that you pick up the mission from Uldren if you haven't already. Now, these snipers can be a little problematic. Highly recommend using a scout rifle or a sniper rifle. Works really well to take care of them. And up ahead, before we go into the boss room, recommend having or making sure that you have something that's void on, as well as having something that is solar. Those are really the only two shields you're going to encounter in the final boss room. Knights will have solar, and there will be a lot of acolytes that have void. The reason I'm putting on Taken Spec is because everything in this room is taken, so having Taken Spec on your weapons will allow them to deal a little more damage. There will be an unstoppable Centurion, Phalanx, whatever it is, blocking your way. But make sure you run over here where those hobgoblins were just at and collect this feather. This is the last feather that you get before opening the chest at the very end. Now, a couple tips in the boss room. Stay towards the back of the room unless you are popping super or directly going forward to deal some sort of damage accordingly. Okay. Like I said, a lot of void and a few solar. So take care of those first. You will have about 3 phases of immunity from the main boss of this mission. Okay. In between each phase, he's going to spawn a lot of acolytes. The acolytes will continuously spawn, even though you're killing them until their two knights in the room are dead. Okay, there'll be one on the left side and one on the right side. In order to get to these knights, you have to kill a couple of goblins in order to do so. It's a little annoying, a little difficult, but kill those knights as fast as possible, then clear the ads, the acolytes, the eyes, and remaining goblins, and you'll be able to have the boss come back out of hiding, and you'll have to deal with him once again. Okay, once you deal with him for 3 turns, he'll be in his final stage, which is like 1/3 of his health left, and all you have to do is just quite literally just cream him, completely obliterate his health. I do not recommend using a sword. I recommend using something like Xenophage, something like Sleeper, anything that gives you range to stay away from him so that way you're not damaged. I personally use Xenophage for the solar aspect, as well as I have a primary sniper with Vorpal on it from the raid. Succession or top notch option for this. Use your grenades, use those supers, anything to damage him from a little ways away. His solar attacks that he shoots at you are rather effective. And that's it, guys. That's how you get Hawkmoon. I hope this video is a little more informative and more accurate compared to the other video. And other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. Like, subscribe if you aren't already, and get back to grinding, you crazy guardians.